In one part of the world, the dragon was worn by emperors. In another, it was hunted by heroes. In the east, the dragon stood behind the throne. In the west, it stood in the way of glory. And that raises one of the strangest questions in mythology. How did the same creature become a symbol of divine power in one civilization, and a monster that had to be slain in another? Because dragons were never just fantasy creatures. They were mirrors. They reflected what a civilization feared, what it worshipped, and what it believed power was supposed to look like. In the east, dragons rose into the sky. In the west, they were dragged into the cave. In the east, they brought rain. In the west, they guarded gold. In the east, emperors wrapped themselves in dragon imagery to claim heavenly legitimacy. In the west, kings, saints, and warriors built legends by proving they could destroy one. So the real difference was never just about dragons. It was about what each world wanted power to be. In the east, especially in China, the dragon was not simply a beast. It was a cosmic symbol. It was tied to rain, rivers, clouds, storms, agriculture, and heaven itself. This matters because ancient agrarian civilizations did not survive through individual heroism. They survived through harmony. They depended on seasonal cycles, rainfall, fertile land, and the idea that heaven and earth were connected through order. And in that worldview, the dragon fit perfectly. It was powerful but not chaotic, majestic but not purely destructive. It moved through clouds and water, not through fire and ash. It represented the kind of force humans could not control, but desperately needed to remain in balance. That is why the dragon became associated with blessing, authority, and celestial approval. And once a creature becomes linked to heaven, it does not stay an ordinary animal for long. It becomes political. The emperor in imperial China was not supposed to be just a ruler with military power. He was supposed to be the son of heaven. His role was not merely to command people. It was to stand between heaven and earth, maintaining order under heaven. So when emperors wore dragon robes, displayed dragon thrones, or surrounded themselves with dragon imagery, this was not decoration. It was a claim that their authority was not random, not temporary, not merely human. The dragon symbol said that their rule was aligned with the structure of the cosmos itself. To wear the dragon was to say, I do not simply rule by force. I rule because heaven allows it. That is why, in the East, the dragon became something that could be worn, honored, and elevated. It was not a test to overcome. It was a symbol to inherit. Now compare that with much of the Western tradition. In the West, dragons became something very different. They became obstacles, enemies, nightmares. The dragon was no longer the force that linked ruler and heaven. It became the force that blocked treasure, corrupted land, devoured people, and stood against civilization. And this was not random either, because the Western heroic tradition often defined greatness through confrontation. The hero did not prove himself by harmonizing with overwhelming power. He proved himself by facing it, resisting it, and conquering it. In that kind of storytelling, monsters are necessary. The darker the monster, the greater the hero. And dragons became the perfect enemy. They were huge, ancient, wealthy, violent, and terrifying. They lived beyond the edges of ordinary human life. They guarded caves, mountains, ruins, and forbidden spaces. They were greed made flesh, chaos given wings, power with no moral order. And once Christianity began shaping much of medieval Europe's symbolic imagination, dragons became even darker. Now they were not just dangerous animals. They could represent evil, temptation, pride, or forces opposed to divine truth. So when a knight or saint killed a dragon, the act meant more than physical victory. It symbolized order defeating chaos, faith defeating evil, civilization defeating the monstrous. This is why dragon slaying became glory. Because in the Western imagination, the dragon was not power in its rightful place. It was power that had become corrupted, power that hoarded, power that devoured, power that had to be put down. And that leads us to the deepest difference between these two traditions. The East did not need the dragon to die, the West often did. Because each civilization imagined ideal power differently. In the East, ideal power was connected to balance, legitimacy, cosmic order, and heavenly approval. The dragon fit that vision because it was immense, sacred, and beyond the ordinary, yet still tied to fertility, rain, and harmony. In the West, ideal power was often dramatized through struggle. The righteous figure proves worth by facing darkness and surviving it. The dragon fit that vision because it was exactly the kind of darkness that made heroism visible. So the East turned the dragon into a symbol of rightful authority. The West turned it into a test of heroic authority. That is why one civilization put dragons on imperial robes, while another placed them at the end of a sword. And what makes this so fascinating is that the dragon itself did not need to change that much. Humans changed it by changing what they wanted from myth. One world looked at overwhelming power and asked, how can this power be aligned with heaven? The other looked at overwhelming power and asked, how can this power be defeated? One saw a sacred emblem, the other saw a glorious enemy. One placed the dragon beside the throne, the other placed it beneath the hero's spear. So when people ask why Eastern emperors wore dragons while the West killed them for glory, the answer is bigger than folklore. It is about two different civilizational dreams. One dreamed of order through harmony, the other dreamed of order through conquest. And the dragon, perhaps more than any other mythological creature, reveals that difference with brutal clarity. Because the dragon was never just a beast. It was always a reflection of what power should protect, a reflection of what power should destroy. And that is why in one half of the world, the dragon became worthy of a crown, while in the other, it became worthy of a kill.